Thanks, that's Ken Corla. Minister, I want to ask if you support the proposal from the Dublin Commuter Coalition to abolish the M50 and Eastlink tolls to incentivise motorists not to pass through the city centre. This would reduce congestion and air pollution, speed up public transport and make it more reliable. It would facilitate active travel and it would make the city centre a safer, healthier, more pleasant place to be.
Firstly, let me say that I very much support the vision for Dublin city centre to be a better place to live, work and visit that's set out by the advocacy group referred to in the Deputy's question. And that's why I fully support the vision set out as well by Dublin City Council in their recently published draft Dublin City Centre Transport Plan, which was developed in cooperation with the National Transport Authority. I believe this new plan can maximise the opportunities presented to the city through the steady reduction in the use of private cars travelling through or into the core city and through the core city centre. Statistics show that since the first canal cordon count in 2006, the use of the private car in the AMP has declined by 31% by last year. Some might say COVID is a factor, but if you look at the period from 2006 to 2019, then use of the private car had already declined by some 21%. I firmly believe that we now need to reorientate our city's urban streetscape to prioritise people. That means reallocating space so people can walk, shop, cycle, socialise and enjoy the city centre. That doesn't mean banning all cars or vans to the city centre. We have to provide access, but it does mean we need to manage traffic better, including reducing through traffic. I think the traffic management proposals put forward by the City Council strike the right balance between removing that through traffic from the city centre while retaining access for traffic that must access it, and that we can then seize the opportunity to enhance the public realm in key areas. I don't believe that there's a direct link between abolishing tolls on either the M50 or the East Link would achieve that improved city centre environment. That improved environment requires us to change how we use the streets, how we allocate space on the streets, and that, I believe, would be the better way to deliver an improved city centre.
But there isn't a contradiction, Minister, between improving how we use our streets, giving better public transport, and abolishing the tolls. I mean, the Minister says he agrees with the vision, but the vision argues that the tolls encourage vehicles crossing the city to go straight through the centre rather than taking routes around it. We know from the Dublin City Council's draft Dublin City Centre Transport Plan 2023 that 6 out of every 10 cars are simply using the city centre roads as the most convenient route to reach destinations outside the city centre, and that these vehicles could be using different routes to these destinations. So we need to incentivise and encourage people to do that, to not bring their cars into the city centre. And it would have a big impact if you reduce, a daily commuter who drives across the city would have to pay €76 a month for the Eastlink Bridge or €92 a month on the M50. If you get rid of those charges, well then that will have an impact to some degree of reducing car traffic in the city centre and go towards achieving the 40% reduction targeted by the Dublin City Transport Plan.
There are a number of reasons why I don't think it's the right strategy. The first, I would say to you, that as we saw with Deputy Kennedy this morning, who was delayed by an accident on the approaches to the M50, that our M50 is already at full capacity. If you look at any of the statistics analysis, it is almost 24/7 now, at various sections, full, jam. In fact, we're having to introduce traffic management measures to try and cope with that excess capacity most of the time, particularly in morning rush hours or evening rush hours. And therefore, I don't believe that there's spare capacity for people to make the switch. I also believe that it's far more effective and far quicker and fairer for us and better for us to actually change the geography of the city centre by reallocating that space for pedestrians and cyclists in public realm, rather than necessarily trying to relocate everyone elsewhere. We are engaged in a major demand management study, both in Dublin and nationally, and the fruits of that will start to be seen by the end of this year, early next year. And that is asking the question, how do we manage all this traffic? and include in that the need to reduce the volume of traffic by some 25% right across the country.
Thank you, Minister. You'll get a chance.
And I don't believe the proposal set out would be the best means of achieving that.
Deputy Murphy.
Thanks, but Minister, you're also opposed to making public transport free. You know what I mean? So, like, you're against doing those measures which make it easier for people to engage in better ways of being in our city, of not adding to congestion in our city centre, of taking public transport, of engaging in active travel. I mean, you opposed abolishing public transport fares because it would lead to, quote, unnecessary journeys. What we need to target is unnecessary car journeys. And the way to do that is not by charging people, which I think is kind of part of what you're getting at in terms of keeping the tolls, but by massively increasing investment in expanding public transport and active travel and making it free for everybody. I hope that it's not the 172 million in toll income from the M50 and the 4 million in income from the East Link Bridge that is determining policy on this. The government has the capacity to amend the Roads Act, abolish these tolls, to direct car journeys out of the city centre, improving our city centre, along with the other measures. It's not in and of itself a silver bullet, I agree with that, but it is one part of the solution.
Minister, to conclude.
I'm proud to be a minister who introduced the first major cut in public transport fares, 20% for everyone, 60% for those under 25, which has seen a massive increase in the number of people using public transport. It works. But you do need some revenue. You do need some money to come from somewhere to pay for the massive expansion in public transport services that we need, which in my mind is the best way of actually changing this whole paradigm, rather than trying to facilitate more car traffic, to actually try and reduce that and try and increase the alternative so that the system works for everyone, including those in cars. It's not anti-people who have to drive. In fact, the problem we have is your solution, which would be promoting car traffic, would actually make it worse for everyone. And we do need the money to pay for public transport, to increase and to also keep on reducing the costs. But everything is free for everyone, including for motorists. Everything is no one pays anything for anything. Wouldn't actually work. You do need to raise some revenue to provide the public services that a socialist solution would say is the right way to go. Because public transport, investing in that is a social gain.
Thank you, Tom.